Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian whistleblower. We'll be watching.
Late night in the heartland. How y'all doing? Great to see you. Great to see you. All right. It's Friday night. Are y'all ready for this? I think we got a fascinating show. I hope that you saw earlier. We talked about Magenta Pixie, and she just made me cry. Beautiful note. It's just a lovely being, and it's my honor and privilege to be her friend, and I hope that you'll watch that. And I hope that we'll remember that now's the time that we need to be together and come together and not pull apart. And we go from that beautiful, high, wonderful energy into something that's a little more dense, but something that is more, or that is important as well. You know, we have to live in what we live in. And avoidance is not a very successful strategy. So we're going to look at everything. We look at it all, folks. You know, that song, we look at, from both sides round, and his life's illusions that I found. And we really do have to face it straight on and straight up if we want to be victorious. I want to say welcome to all the great cousins. We're over 49,000. Heading up to 50,000. We're so very, very thankful for it. I'd like to welcome all of our guests. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here with us. And I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our trolls. Your views, your minutes, your comments are just as valuable as everyone else's in driving us up the algorithm and getting more organic views. So even though you're here to do us harm, and even though you're here with your eyes closed, and your eyes closed and your ears stopped, that's okay. You are making way for a person with eyes to hear, eyes to see, and ears to hear, to be here for the message. So thank you, trolls, for being here. We love you long time. And I'll be honest with you. I love to be loved. It's nice to be loved. I love that powerful energy. And hate is also a very powerful energy. And I can take that hate. I can blow your low vibe and tension off of that energy, and I can just use that energy for me. I stayed up till 7 o'clock this morning, went to bed for 3 hours, got up, and I've been rolling strong ever since, making videos, making sweet love to my wife. It was a great day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready to make some good stuff up tonight, and she's going to be a little angry about that. But anyway, TMI, I know. But folks, we're going to talk about Ted Bundy. Of all things, man, Ted Bundy. I don't know how I got off on this one, but it is so profound, ladies and gentlemen, and so powerful. And it just is, it's all tying into what is happening in our world today and what they're trying to do to us in our world today. And we've just got to wake up and smell the roses. We got to know what's going on. We got to understand what's going on. And right now I'm smelling the clary sage. I'm smelling the clary sage from whistleblowercbd.com. It's amazing stuff. I do encourage you to go and get the things that you always get, but get them from Jeff, because you get a better product, and Jeff gets a few shekels to expand this work. So please go check us out at whistleblowercbd.com. We do appreciate it. I'm getting amazing. Well, we'll talk about that later. All right, let's look at this, folks, because it is wow. It really is. And it's something that I I never thought of. Excuse me for coughing at you. It's something I never thought of. I never thought of in this fashion. And it's funny, the guy that we just had to spank for going after Pharaoh looks just like him. Isn't that something? They look like they're the same dude. And I don't know, they might be of the same spirit. But anyway, we already dealt with that. And I never thought of this in this way. But today, we're going to look at Ted Bundy and the demonization of the white male. We're going to consider Ted Bundy's crimes, Ted Bundy's murders, if they were murders. That's right, I said it. We're going to talk about Ted Bundy and his murders as a cultural faux banner. Now, if you think about what a faux banner is, you'll understand we can't talk about certain words, else we get in big trouble. We want to stay on this platform as long as we can. I think we're going to be fine. You just have to be smart. You just have to be shrewd. And you have to be acting out of, not ego, but acting out of your analytical mind and your rational mind. So that's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk Ted Bundy and the demonization of the white male. And wow, let's just get into it. That's the only way to do it. I want to take a look at Ted Bundy as a cultural faux banner. And was the Bundy scenario really a narrative that was an attack on the white male, the Daughertyan white male? And most of this is based on the excellent reports by the amazing Miles Mathis. Guy's a tremendous reporter, tremendous investigative journalist. And I encourage you to check out his work. So let's just dive right in, folks. I want you to look at something, and I want you to notice something, or tell me what you notice or don't notice. These are the actors that have played Ted Bundy. These are some of the actors that have played Ted Bundy. I think I got them all. Might have missed one or two. You know who most of these guys are. What's his name? Zac Efron, Mark Harmon, Jared Leto. This guy, a nobody, but there's these guys. And then he got these guys playing Ted Bundy. This is, of course, Carrie Elways from Princess Bride. But what do you notice? Besides, they all look like that guy that I had to spank. They're all white males, aren't they? They're all good-looking, well-dressed, prototypical white males, ladies and gentlemen. Is that by design? And is it a cultural false flag intended to demonize the Daughertyan white male? Mr. Akil will, they're white, clean-cut, exactly. Well-to-do. Your all-American boy, so to speak. Is it a cultural false flag? Well, let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the men that have played the most famous fictional serial killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen Mads Mikkelsen play it in the TV show, Mads Mikkelsen will make you forget all of these guys. They all did a nice job in their own way. Of course, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Brian, can't remember his last name. This guy played the young Hannibal in Hannibal Rising, did a nice job. But Mads Mikkelsen, wow. What a tremendous, tremendous actor. And that is such a powerful program. I learned to be a much better remote viewer by watching Hannibal, believe it or not. Believe it or not. And again, what do we got? Refined, distinguished, well-to-do. They're doctors. They're all psychiatrists. So blue-eyed. Is it the demonization of the Daughertyan male? I don't know. So was Ted Bundy a cultural faux banner? And let's just dive right in, because this is where it gets weird from the beginning. Among the founders of the CIA were the brothers William and McGeorge Bundy. That's right. The founders of the CIA, William and McGeorge Bundy. They're of the Boston Brahmin family, the Bundy family, one of the 13 Illuminati families. We talked about that last week. And Ted Bundy just happens to look a lot like these brothers. Ted Bundy is also the perfect age to be the son of one of those brothers. And I'm going to share information with you that says that Ted Bundy is the son of, I think, McGeorge Bundy, but possibly William. And evidence suggests, folks, and we're going to look at this evidence, that the entire Bundy narrative may be a complete fake composed by Langley, CIA, FBI, and Hollywood to blackwash attractive white men and scare women out of their minds, to split the sexes, to damage heterosexual relationships, and deal the good-looking white guy a lethal blow. Single, miserable people are much better consumers, and they're much easier to control than happy couples. Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen. And when you look at Bundy's career, if you will, it is filled with legal oddities. And the Wikipedia page, and as soon as I say Wikipedia, don't criticize other people's study when you don't do any at all. Wikipedia is an excellent basic resource. Excellent basic resource. Does it need to be vetted? Does it need to be verified? Does it need to be expanded? Yes. I literally sat down. I don't know when was it, Cynthia. I sat down after the show, maybe 1:30. All of a sudden, Cynthia walks in, and it's 4:00 in the morning. And then I just kept on pushing right through till 7, went back, got up, did some more. So I'm into this, man. I'm into this. And it's powerful. And I think it's something that is really, really going to be very, very interesting to us. Now, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile was, I believe, the Jared Leto movie that just got released. It was just on Netflix, right? Netflix. And I didn't watch that one. I've watched every Bundy presentation until that one. I'll probably go back and watch it. But as you look at Miles Mathis points this out, I checked it, and he's right. In Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, something is really, really strange when you look at this film. Every single person involved in this Bundy film, from the actors to the writers to the producers to the directors, they are all limmish. They are all limpants. Wie geht's, Andreas? Nice to see you, my friend. They're all limpants. They're all limmish. Are the limpants, the limmish, the Zio-Dominions engaged in a coordinated psyop to demonize the white Agarthian male? Not only yes, but hell yes. Let's talk about Bundy. His first conviction in the state of Utah was handed down from a 4-day bench trial. A 4-day bench trial for kidnapping and attempted murder. That makes no sense. They don't do bench trials, especially 4-day bench trials, for kidnapping and attempted murder. They just don't. I'm going to show you evidence, and I'm going to show it to you, even though I haven't made a decision. I'm going to show it to you with passion, show it to you with conviction on both sides, and allow you to make the decisions. Because if you haven't been here before, if you come looking for answers, you've come to the wrong place. I don't give answers. I hopefully give you the motivation to ask the right questions and to do the research yourself. So I'm not the answer man. I'm the question man, and I'm trying to get you to ask questions, and I'm trying to get you to question answers. It makes no sense to have a 4-day bench trial for kidnapping and attempted murder. Wikipedia says in U.S. law, for most criminal cases, trial by jury is a matter of course. That means it happens all the time. This is not Answer Depot. Thank you, Chuck. That's the way it is. It's the rule of thumb. And it is the rule of thumb under the 6th Amendment of the United States Constitution, and it cannot be waived without certain requirements under Section 21, which is a 3, know the majesty of 3, 6, and 9. It's Section 21 of the Federal Criminal Procedure. The defendant is entitled to a jury trial. The trial must be held by a jury unless the defendant waives a jury trial, the government consents, and the court approves. Why would Ted Bundy waive his constitutional rights to a jury trial? He wouldn't. Makes no sense, which raises right from the get-go serious suspicion about this trial. Was this first trial of Ted Bundy a fake trial, a faux banner? Was it? Why fake a long trial when you can fake a 4-day bench trial? That's not Bundy. That's Hunter S. Thompson. I'll get to it. Which only requires a complicit judge. And Bundy escaped twice from the Pitkin County Jail in Aspen, Colorado. And that really interested me. So I looked into it a little more deeply. And did you know that in 1970, Hunter S. Thompson ran for sheriff of Pitkin County, where Bundy's first trial was? And he came within 300 votes of winning. And it was during this campaign that Hunter S. Thompson introduced the term fear and loathing. And it, of course, became the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Nothing unusual about that at all, right? Dude, that's weird as shit. The point is, Pitkin County was used to Hollywood-type shows. And it's also home to Aspen, which per capita has more resident spies living there than any place outside of Washington, D.C. That is some weird shit, ladies and gentlemen, and we are just getting started. We're told that Bundy escaped from the Pitkin County Jail not once, but twice from the same jail. Now, the second time, the second time he escaped by sawing a hole in the middle of the ceiling of his cell. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. See what I did with that? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that an access to a saw in jail is rather unusual, especially for guys that had already escaped once. So riddle me this. How does a guy that already escaped once manage to smuggle in a saw and then hide it? How? And assuming the ever-resourceful Ted could manage this feat, how could he saw a hole big enough to make egress without making any noise? And remarkably, once he got into the ceiling, either his cell was conveniently located directly under an air vent large enough for a man to crawl through, or he immediately and silently located an air vent large enough for a man to crawl through. Ted was so lucky, which of course led directly to a secluded dropout in the bushes outside where nobody could see him. What luck! It's almost like it was set up. I just got a Suzette brings up a great point. Bundy was an actor. Folks, how weird is that shit? How weird is that, man? And speaking of weird, I've been getting a lot of great comments about the nanosoma, healing things remarkably fast, people feeling better. It opens all the receptors in your cells that are supposed to be open and it forgot how to open. It literally does forget because of all the shit that they're pumping into us. And it reminds all the ones that close that are supposed to close. My hair is darkening again because that has a lot to do with receptors. It causes your telomeres to lengthen. It lengthens your life, it looks like. And as far as supplements go, it's saving me a ton of money. Cynthia's hooked on it. I literally, a day does not go by when I don't get great reviews about the nanosoma. It's a plant-based nano-emulsion that strengthens immunity and repairs skin. Somebody said it healed a cut in remarkably fast time, and they were diabetic. So go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the nanosoma logo. All right, so let's continue to talk about Ted, and we're still in Pitkin County. What about the first escape? Let's talk about Ted Bundy's excellent adventures. The first escape, I'll get to that in a second. First, let me tell you how Wikipedia tells us that Ted initially succumbed to arrest only after leading the cops on a high-speed chase. A high-speed chase, ladies and gentlemen. Ted Bundy led police on a high-speed chase in his VW Beetle. What were they on? Bikes? Yugos? Gremlins? How high-speed a chase could it be in a VW Beetle? I'm just asking. And after managing to run Ted down in Herbie the Love Bug, the police found a ski mask, a second mask from pantyhose. You know those ones with the pantyhose. A crowbar, handcuffs, trash bags, a coil of rope, an ice pick, burglary tools, everything but a arrest me, I'm a serial killer bumper sticker. They found this in the high-speed Herbie the Love Bug VW Beetle. Now, Ted Bundy was a lot of things, but stupid was not one of them. He graduated from the University of Washington with honors, not easy to do. He went to the University of Puget Sound. I spent 3 years in Tacoma, Washington, where that school is located. It's a very, very, very prestigious law school. And then he went to the University of Utah Law School, also prestigious. So why would he drive around? I know he's driving a hot rod, but why would he drive around with pantyhose, ski mask, trash bags, rope, ice pick, handcuffs, burglary tools in the back seat? Unless he was an actor playing a part and those were the props. Do you see where I'm going with this? And if you think I'm crazy, you got to answer my receipts. Here's my receipts. You got to answer them. I'm trying to get you to think outside the box. I'm trying to expand your paradigms and get you to look at stuff and say, wait a second. Because that way you won't just eat everything up that they bring to you. I'm trying to get you to stop being the little bird in the nest that sits there and waits for mama bird to fly back and barf into your mouth, and you take and accept anything that she barfs in. We're learning to ask questions. And then we'll learn how to question answers, and then we'll be well on the way to unindoctrinating ourselves. After all, this is the Unindoctrination Station. Okay, now let's talk about the first escape and Ted Bundy's excellent adventures. Despite being known to be extremely dangerous, he was arrested for kidnap and attempted murder. Ted was allowed to act as his own attorney, and he was excused from wearing any restraints. When does that happen? The answer's never. You do not let a man who is charged with attempted murder and kidnapping to not wear restraints. But not only that, not only was he allowed to not wear restraints after being caught in the red hot, hot rod love bug VW with the rape and murder kit, he was allowed not to wear restraints, and he was allowed during the recess to go to the courthouse's law library alone to research his case, where shockingly he promptly jumped from his second-story window and escaped. I'm shocked. Are you? Folks, I ask you as people that are not stupid, and even those of you that might be, you're not that stupid, are you? How much sense does that make? How likely is that? How believable is that? Well, before you embarrass yourself, let me explain a few things to you. Let me explain a couple things to you. Okay? Let me explain a couple things to you. Number one, the Pitkin County courthouse didn't and doesn't have a law library. Not on the second floor, not on the first floor, not anywhere else. They didn't have a law library. So they let the unrestrained Ted Bundy, accused of attempted murder and kidnap, to wander the courthouse freely. How likely is it that Ted, not 10, but Ted, would have been allowed to leave the courtroom unaccompanied and unrestrained? How stupid do the people in Aspen have to be in order to buy this and believe this? It's Ted Bundy's excellent adventure. Wow. Then, Mountain Man Ted wandered the Utah wilderness for 6 days. Folks, do you understand about wandering the wilderness for 6 days? I was a C-130 crew chief in the United States Air Force. I wandered the wilderness for 6 days during survival training. 6 days is a long, long, long time. Ted didn't have a sleeping bag. Ted didn't have no McDonald's. Ted had nothing. 6 days. 6 days, Mountain Man Ted Bundy wandered around in the wilderness after jumping out of the second floor window and escaping unseen into the woods. It wasn't Utah, was it? It was Colorado. It's actually probably colder in Colorado, but anyway. And then he stole a car and drove back into town and was spotted by police weaving from lane to lane. Wait a second now. Wait a second. So let me make sure I get this right. Ted escapes from jail, spends 6 days in the wilderness. He'd have been in rough shape. Steals a car, buys a gun, steals a car, tries to run, but he don't get far, and his mama cried. But anyway, he stole a car, drove back into Aspen. Now, let's just say that you stole a car and you're driving back into the city that you escaped from jail, considering if you were stupid enough to do that. Wouldn't you be on your best behavior, or would you be weaving from lane to lane? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. This shit is the way they tell us it was. So he steals the car, goes back to Aspen, drives erratically where he'd broken out of jail 6 days earlier. And son of a gun, he gets arrested again. Now, let's go back to that second escape attempt for a moment. Remember, he had already been in jail once. He'd already escaped once. That's called a known flight risk. Nevertheless, even though he'd been in jail, even though he'd already escaped once, on the night of December 30th, with most of the jail staff on Christmas break and nonviolent prisoners on furlough with their families, Ted Bundy, charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, escape. He piled books from the non-existent law library on his bed, stuffed some shit under the blanket to simulate his sleeping body, and then climbed into the crawl space, which he had silently cut with his trusty saw that he smuggled in after having escaped. How do you smuggle in a saw after having escaped? Did the carpenter forget the saw under Ted's bunk? Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, is this shit possible? But wait, there's more. He gets into the ceiling. He crawls through the vents, and then he gets into the apartment of the chief jailer, who has a guy that's a fugitive, attempted murder, kidnapping, and he goes out for the evening with his wife and leaves Ted at the jail by himself, unsupervised. So Ted changes into clothes from the jailer's closet, which no doubt fit perfectly and matched his eyes. And he walked out the front door to freedom. Are you kidding me, ladies and gentlemen? Really? Really? Oh, my. Next, Ted hitchhikes a ride to Denver. Okay, it was the 70s. Maybe you pick up hitchhikers, but you got to pick up a hitchhiker right around a prison. It's December 30th. It's cold. What the hell's this guy doing? Oh, but somebody picked him up, took him to Denver, where he got on an airplane to Chicago, because I'm sure the first thing the police in Aspen wouldn't do is call the airport in Denver, alerting them to arrest Ted Bundy on site. Or maybe Ted had his jail saw with him, and he quietly and undetectedly sawed a hole in the bottom of the plane, snuck on board, and rode with the luggage. Folks, this is straight from the reports. Ted Bundy's excellent adventures. Jeff, are you crazy? You're talking about it being a deep state faux banner. Well, we got ridiculousness. Why don't we add a little Illuminati symbolism? How about that? Can we add a little Illuminati symbolism? Then Ted the fugitive somehow makes his way from Chicago all the way down to Florida. And he arrives in Tallahassee on January 8th. You know, I just sang that song. There was a reason. January 8th is the birthday of Elvis Presley, the original MK Ultra victim. You've got to learn to recognize these things. You got to learn to see these things. You got to learn to understand these things. They put these things in there to give themselves plausible deniability. They can say, hey, we told those dummies it was plain, but if you don't see it, why do they do it? Because you don't see it. Because you're blind, deaf, and dumb, most of you. And once at FSU, Ted chose the Chi Omega house. Why is that interesting? Because he chose the Chi Omega house on January 8th. And if you write January 8th in numbers, it's 118, isn't it? 18. Not 118, 18. And I don't know if you pronounce this Chi or Chai. I think it's Chi, C-H-A-I. It's a Jewish symbol associated with 18. Numerically, January 8th is 1-8. So he just happened to choose the Chi Omega house, which is associated with the Jewish symbol Chi, which is 18. And he just happened to do it on 1-8, which is 18. I'm sure it's just wacky coincidences, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it doesn't mean anything. And 1 and 8 is 9 too. Tony reminds us, know the majesty of 3, 6, and 9. The Chi Omega house. Not only is it remarkably close to Chi, the Chi Omega house also has a very interesting logo. It's the owl. Who the owl? Who the owl? Who the owl? Bohemian Grove, anybody? Moloch, anybody? Illuminati much? And not only that, they got the skull and crossbones on their logo. Skull and Crossbones, Yale. Yale crops up again. Why would they have the Skull and Crossbones? And the owl? Even the seal looks like an owl. It does. Come on, folks. So do you really still think I'm crazy? Do you really still think this is a ridiculous idea? Or was Ted Bundy possibly a faux banner to demonize the white Agarthian males? But wait, there's more. If you check the Chi Omega list, you find that Florida State is the Gamma chapter. Gamma is the third letter of the Greek alphabet, which means that FSU is the third chapter on the list of 181 chapters. There's Chi again. But FSU wasn't the third. That's Florida State University. FSU was not the third chapter founded. It's not a timeline. It's some sort of a ranking system. FSU, Florida State University, is number 3 on the list. Guess what's number 1 on the list? The University of Washington is the Alpha chapter, which just happens to be where Ted Bundy graduated with his baccalaureate degree. Washington is the Alpha chapter. Ted Bundy, the alpha male. Ted Bundy, Illuminati, demonization of alpha males. Tell me again how Ted Bundy as faux banner against alpha males is silly. Tell me again how that's silly. Go ahead. Tell me again that it's silly and I'm crazy. Ooh, and we are literally just getting started. The next thing that jumps out to you are the names of Ted's supposed co-ed victims at FSU. And I did say supposed. Lisa Levy, Margaret Bowman, Kathy Kleiner. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but they are all limpish as well. Limmish as well. Limpets, limmish. Levy, obviously limmish name. Bowman, not so much. So let's take a look at her picture. Lovely girl, obviously limmish. And incidentally, the Bowmans were originally the Bowmans, and they're related to the Cohens, which is the priestly tribe. They're also related to the Campbells, which links them to another one of Ted's victims. They're also related to United States Presidents Andrew Jackson and William Henry Harrison. And it's my speculation that Ms. Bowman used her exit to go into undercover intel work. And I tried everything I could to blow this up. I tried everything I could to blow this up, but I can't get to where we could actually see it, this thing on her neck. I would bet good money that's a l'chaim hanging on her chain. I can't prove it, but I would bet good money that's a l'chaim to life hanging on her chain. Would you wear my l'chaim around your neck? I'm just telling you, folks, I don't know, but wow. Wow. This is one of the other girls, Ms. Kleiner. They try to tell us she's German, but I contend that she's Limmish. She married a man named Reuben, definitely Limmish. If you go to mylife.com, it's got a page for Scott Rubin. He says he's Limmish. They live in New Orleans. She's 60. It's him. And interestingly, he has a criminal record. Just interestingly. Oh, and then there's this. Guess which department Kleiner was in at FSU? The theater department. You know, somebody said the world is a stage and each of us plays a part. Now back to master criminal Ted Bundy. Ted's amazing adventures. We're told that Ted first broke into Bowman's room, then Levy's room, then Kleiner's room. Ted's luck was unending. The lock on the back door of the sorority house was broken, and none of the girls locked the doors to their bedrooms. And then supposedly, Ted picked up some firewood and beat the hell out of the girls. Folks, I was born and raised in Florida. I've been to Tallahassee a bunch of times, and we don't burn a lot of firewood in Florida. And we never burn firewood in college dormitories. I will guarantee you that there was not wood-burning fireplaces in the dormitories at Florida State University. Guarantee you. Can you think of a worse idea? And FSU is known as Party Central. Can you think of a worse idea than putting wood-burning fireplaces in a college dormitory? A sorority house, fraternity sorority house? Come on, man. Ain't nobody dumb enough to do that. Sorority house. Ain't nobody dumb enough to do that. Because kids get drunk and high and they burn shit down. Come on. I know it's Florida State. I'm a Florida Gator type of guy. I know it's Florida State, and it would be really tragic if their library burned down, because probably most of those books haven't even been colored in yet. And then the limpets strike again. Ted was lucky enough that all the girls that he ran into were heavy sleepers, and also didn't notice when their bedroom doors opened, and also didn't hear any of the commotion. That's convenient. What's also convenient is Ted's ability to walk through rooms in the dark and precisely aim deadly blows. I don't know. Maybe they left the night lights on for Ted. And although these girls were all fabulously lacking aurally, that means they couldn't hear. They all had amazing night vision, because they all were able to positively ID Ted just from his silhouette thrown by moonlight coming in the open windows. And as Tony says, college dormitories are not known for their strong insulation and soundproofing. Oh, but Jeff, I read in the Rolling Stone that there were some car headlights. Rolling Stone wrote that outside the back door, a sorority sister named Nita Neary was getting out of her boyfriend's car after a late date. It was 3 a.m. And because Kleiner and Chandler never closed their curtains. Okay, wait a second. So these girls, college girls, didn't care that the lock on the back door of their sorority house was broken, didn't lock their doors to their dorm, and didn't lock their windows, and didn't even close the curtains. What was this? Freak house? Did they dance naked and for tips when people walk by? Ladies, how many of you would go to college and stay in a dorm where the back door was broken, not lock your doors, not lock your windows, and not close your curtains? I know some of you ladies are freaky, but you're not stupid. You're not stupid. Oh, and by the way, it'd be really weird how the lights from the car could light the bedrooms, because their bedrooms were on the second floor. Oops. How did the car light shine straight into their rooms, Rolling Stone? They were on the second floor. Ruh-roh. We messed that one up, didn't we? Oops. Folks, for 5,000 years, silver's been real money. So is gold. So is palladium. Cynthia and I are into the silver right now. We get a collector silver every month. This one is the 2-ounce Krugerrand. It was worth more when we got it than when we ordered it. A lot of people go with the regular bullion. This is an American Eagle 2021 pre-release. Some people just go with like a regular dime or a quarter. That's less than $20 a month. But the point is, you get a subscription. You're saving some silver. You're saving some gold. and you're building some wealth and you're building some financial security. And these times are tough. I'm not a financial advisor, but 5,000 years has been a pretty good deal. Plus, you buy some silver, you help yourself, and old Jeff gets a shekel or two to help expand this work. That's Mint Builder. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on that Mint Builder logo, and see if you like it. See if you like it. Where did we leave off? Oh, yeah, the lights from the car shining into the second-story window. So Nita, the girl in the car, and not only was this acting, ladies and gentlemen, but it was bad continuation, which is, it continues from scene to scene. Everything has to line up. They're drinking a Pepsi in one scene. It cuts. Then they got a Coke. How did they get a Coke when they had a Pepsi? That's bad continuation. Dialogue. You know what dialogue is. But the girl in the car is supposed to have seen Ted at the front door of the sorority, but her car came to the back door, it said. She's at the back door, but she said she saw Ted at the front door. But Ted came in the unlocked back door. Her story's false. She also claims to have heard a thump inside that nobody that was inside heard. So let me get this right. Nita, out the back, here's the thump that the people in the rooms next door didn't hear, while Nita was outside at the car, a floor away, near a running automobile. Cool story, bro. Wikipedia tells us that the Tallahassee detectives determined that the 4 attacks took place in a total of less than 15 minutes in the dark in a place you've never been before. Wow. Within earshot of more than 30 witnesses who heard nothing. But yet, Nita Neary, something weird about that name. I don't know what it is. Nita Neary heard a thump from the parking lot inside or exiting a running automobile, but none of the other 30 sorority sisters heard a thing. Chi Omegas must be heavy sleepers that like to leave their doors unlocked and aren't worried that the back door has been busted. Makes perfect sense to me. Doesn't sound at all like a faux banner. And Rolling Stone also asks us to believe that Kleiner may have been small, but she was fierce. My wife says she's small but mighty. So was Ms. Kleiner. The newspapers called her a belligerent survivor. How believable is this? So little Miss Kleiner, 3 months after being attacked by Ted Bundy, takes a job as a cashier at a lumber yard to overcome her fear of strange men. She gets married in June, only because her parents didn't want her to. Reluctantly, they said she got married in June. And then she took a job as a bank teller where she got robbed in her first week by an attractive male stranger. But she was such a belligerent survivor that she took the afternoon off and returned the next day. Now, let me get this straight. Let me just make sure I got this right. Ms. Kleiner nearly gets killed by an attractive white male, Ted Bundy. Then she takes a lumber yard job to overcome her fear of attractive white males, then marries an attractive white male, we presume, reluctantly, then gets robbed by another attractive white male. What's the moral of the story? There's a lot of very dangerous, attractive white males out there. Tell me again how my premise is silly. Go ahead. Tell me again. Anne Rule wrote a book, The Stranger Beside Me, based on her relationship with Theodore Edward Ted Bundy. And it caught my interest that Ms. Rule comes from a family of law enforcement. Her uncle is a sheriff. Her grandfather was a sheriff. Her cousin was the prosecuting attorney, and her other uncle was the medical examiner. She worked for the Seattle Police Department and then went to work as a writer for True Detective magazine, which is a known intelligence front, peddling fear porn with the same sorts of stories as the Bundy story. And belying its name, the stories weren't true, they were fiction. And making it even more interesting, Anne Rule knew Ted Bundy all the way back to 1971. She came in on the ground floor of this hoax. They worked together at a suicide crisis line, which means in spy talk, they were hired by the CIA at the same time. Could all of Rule's books be fiction? Written at the behest of intelligence for whom she's worked for from the beginning? Makes more sense than the bullshit they're trying to make us believe about Ted Bundy. Smells like deep state. You smell that? Smells like deep state intrigue. Somebody step in deep state intrigue. Check your shoes. Rule was actually related to Ted Bundy. And her family and Bundy's family were the same family, and it was a family from peerage, which means royalty. Illuminati much? Cosmopolitan admitted that the Sundance Netflix film starring Jared Leto as Ted Bundy is filled with lies. In the final scene, Bundy admits to his ex-girlfriend, allegedly, Miss Klopfer, that he cut off a girl's head with a hacksaw. Problem is, it never happened, even in the fake mainstream media story. Klopfer never visited Ted in jail, as pictured in the movie. Ted never told anything like that to her. And they continue to tweak the story to fit their current evil, white, attractive guy agenda. In fact, it looks like, upon research, that Elizabeth Klopfer was made up entirely. Miles Mathis did a people search, and so did I, on Elizabeth Klopfer, looking at Intellius and Instant Checkmate. And I confirm Mathis's findings that no Elizabeth Klopfer in her age range has ever existed in the United States of America. Never existed in the United States of America. How about desperately seeking Ted? So I got an idea. What if I do an Intellius search on Ted Bundy? Miles Mathis did too. And according to his current page on Intellius, he lived in Lansing, Santa Monica, Oceanside, Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa. Besides the places we know of, he's related to Kimberly, Fran, Michelle, and Brooke Bundy. But according to the given history, Ted never lived in Lansing. Stranger, Instant Checkmates never heard of Ted Bundy in Tacoma. Even stranger, if we search on Ted Bundy, Salt Lake City, we get only one result, an Edward L. James, who happens to be related to the Bowmans. Remember the Bowmans. Remember the victim, Margaret Bowman. Wow. Wow. Even more strange, Radaris.com has a listing for our Ted Bundy, who would be the age of Ted if Ted was alive now, living in Oceanside, New York. There's 3 phone numbers. Or you could call the Ted Bundy in Mesa, Arizona, which is the same age as Ted would be now. But Ted never lived in Santa Monica. But if you do a search, you do get one hit, Peggy Clifford, author of the 1980 To Aspen and Back, about Ted Bundy. She lives in Santa Monica. Is there some connection between her and Bundy? Or is Ted Bundy another made-up intel connection? The name, the character. Is he just an actor? Interesting shit, ladies and gentlemen. Will the real Ted Bundy please stand up? I would love some coffee. Oh, looking good, baby. Looking good. Black negligee. Woo. Where was I? His earliest documented homicides were committed in 1974 when he was 27 years old. By then, Ted says he had mastered the necessary skills in the era before DNA to leave minimal incriminating forensic evidence at crime scenes. Except he hadn't mastered the skills of not driving around in a Volkswagen, which we could have called the incriminating evidence mobile. Master criminal. His first documented homicide was given in 1974, but it's not very well documented. The girl is identified as Karen Sparks, Joni Lenz, Mary Adams, or Terry Caldwell. Take your pick. It was multiple choice. If this is a real girl, then the least they could do is get her name right out of respect for the dead. Thanks, babe. How am I doing?
It's great.
Thanks. And here's some of the other surnames of girls that Ted have said to have killed around that time. Ball, Parks, Rancourt, Hawkins, Healy, Naslin, Ott, Wilcox, and Manson. Just because it's fun. As in Charlie Manson. They admit that the Manson body was never found, so logically there's no proof that anyone ever murdered her. More weirdness. October 18th, there's that Kai again. Melissa Ann Smith, daughter of a local police chief, went missing. October 31st, Halloween. One of Ted's victims go missing. November 8th, again, a Kai, 118. Bundy tried to kidnap Carol DeRanch. And because it was such fun, I started looking that shit up again. No one in the history of the world has ever spelled DeRanch with a capital R. Just a little fun fact. The bodies of none of those girls were ever recovered. How do you know he killed them? Oh, because he confessed. Oh, because Ted always told the truth. So if he confessed, we believe him? He was caught in millions of lies. Why do you believe him on those? Are these women still alive somewhere, or did they even exist, ladies and gentlemen? That's where we are. Honey, what's this shit? Salt Lake City police placed Bundy on a 24-hour surveillance, and 2 detectives went to interview Klopfer, the girlfriend. She told them that in the year prior to Bundy's move to Utah, she had discovered objects that she couldn't understand. Evidently, she's a special kind of stupid. Because you know what she found? Crutches, a bag of plaster of Paris that Ted admitted stealing from a medical supply house, a meat cleaver that was never used for cooking, surgical gloves, a knife in a wooden case that he kept in his glove compartment, and a sack full of women's clothing. Cynthia, if I had a sack full of other women's clothing in the house, would that be okay with you? I think she might have a couple of questions. The story's flimsy at best, ladies and gentlemen. And that's like the best they got. Boy, that's hot and good. You need it when you're talking. Other things that make you go, why did Ted drive all the way to Aspen to kill girls? That's 400 miles in a VW. In the winter, you ever been in a VW in the winter? A VW Bug? They ain't got shit for heaters. I'm just saying. Why would he drive all the way to Aspen when Salt Lake City's way bigger and it's 400 miles away? Or, let me see, did they go to Aspen because they already had a lot of spies there and it was easy and a great set for the Ted Bundy show? After his Chi Omega jaunt, Bundy went to Jacksonville where he tried to get 14-year-old Leslie Parmenter into his car. She just happened to be the daughter of the Jacksonville chief of detectives. Wait a minute. So what back there, he already ran into one and tried to abduct one police chief daughter. Now he tries to abduct another police chief's daughter. So somehow Ted Bundy drives into a city of millions of people in Jacksonville and one more time randomly finds the daughter of a police chief. Is that amazing or is that a pattern? And did you know that a lot of times Illuminati like to use their own children in their operations? I'm just asking questions. You have to provide the answers. Some days later, Bundy was pulled over in a VW Beetle in Pensacola. And by the way, it's a long-ass way from Jacksonville to Pensacola. That panhandle is a long bitch when you start driving it. Trust me. That's at least 4 or 5 hours. That's a long drive. But how the hell did Ted's VW Bug get to Florida? Oh, it didn't. Ted stole a different VW Bug. Remember, Ted's a criminal mastermind. So why does this criminal mastermind keep stealing the same slow-ass piece of shit cars, the VW Bug? Makes no sense. If you're going to kill women, why wouldn't you steal a van or a big old Chrysler or something? No, Ted always drove and kept stealing over and over again VW Beetles. It makes no sense to keep stealing the same slow, shitty little cars, unless the fact that he kept stealing that same slow, shitty little car reveals a clue to the very key of his conspiracy. Do you know who designed the VW Beetle? The Chancellor designed the VW Beetle. And the criminal mastermind was caught in yet another VW Beetle with 3 sets of IDs belonging to female FSU students. So Ted Bundy is as dumb as the 9/11 hijackers. He also had 21 stolen credit cards and a stolen TV set. Folks, they're telling you it's a show. Why the fuck would you have a stolen TV in the back of a VW Bug? That's a little ass TV. Why, if you're killing people, why are you going to drive? Why are you going to steal a TV? And why are you going to carry it around with you? These details are put in there to make you stupid because you don't ask the questions. A TV. It's a show. Also were some glasses, a pair of plaid slacks, which were later worn as a disguise. So he creates yet another incriminating evidence mobile, seemingly for the ease of the prosecution. Why would the mastermind keep IDs of female FSU students in the freaking car he's driving? Come on, man. That's Crook 101. You don't carry the shit with you. Come on, guys. How about the nation's first made-for-TV trial? Here's a little fun fact. Remember he had a TV? He had a TV in the back of the incriminating evidence mobile? Ted Bundy's trial was the very first trial to be nationally televised. Why? Because they were trying to demonize attractive white guys. And if you're going to do that, you got to be on TV. And rule of thumb, if a trial's televised, it's fake. And we're told that Ted had 5 court-appointed attorneys and yet still handled much of his own defense. Here's a little secret for you. Attorneys cost money. Even, what are those people called? That, you know, the rookie attorneys that defend, public defenders that defend the guys for free. Well, they do it for free to the client, but it's not free to the state. It's not free to the state. And ain't no state in any of the 50 gonna appoint 5 attorneys. They appoint 1. How the hell did Ted afford 4 of attorneys on his own that he wasn't gonna even let attorney for him? Here's another secret. Attorneys cost money and no state will appoint you more than 1. This is a show trial. It's all a show. It's all a show. Bundy's a show from start to finish. After his conviction, Bundy supposedly did a series of interviews with Stephen McCaud and Hugh Ainsworth, detailing his crimes and thought process. That's impossible. Couldn't happen. Florida law states that level 1 prisoners are allowed to speak only to clergy, law enforcement, and blood relatives. They are not allowed daily briefings with the press. His name wasn't Ted Psaki. Only fake prisoners are allowed those visits. So anytime you see a prisoner in jail being interviewed by anyone that's not a clergyman, law enforcement, or a blood relative, you know you're witnessing a fake. You know you're witnessing a fake. Like Charlie Manson, same thing. And do you know that Bundy was only tried for 3 murders and 3 assaults? Charges were never pressed in any of the rest of the assaults and murders, so they were never more than true crime stories. Why didn't they ever press any other charges? Well, Jeff, they didn't have time. Ted sat in jail for 9 years. Plenty of time to try him for the other murders. Why didn't they? No evidence. Probably not even real people. Just asking questions. Did they make up these murders? We're told they had nothing to go on despite the incriminating evidence mobile. How do we even know Ted murdered these people? No evidence has ever been presented in court. And remember, Ted's first trial was a 4-day bench trial that was most assuredly faked. The Florida trials are also seen by many experts as farcical, just like the Simpson trial, the Menendez trial, other televised trials. It was filmed for the great American public, which knows nothing of the law, history, logic, or decency, ladies and gentlemen. Knows nothing of it. This Solex machine works great. We're still trying to get the bracelets straightened out, but this machine works great. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Solex Energy Healing for you today. It's really good stuff. I'm a little miffed about the bracelet, so I haven't been talking about it as much as I could. The machine is freaking fantastic. Daily scans, emotional scans, body scans. It's amazing. It's amazing. Did I mention that I'm a little bit upset about the bracelets? Ladies and gentlemen, what if serial killers are manufactured? I'm not saying that there's not any serial killers, or am I? But what if they are manufactured? What if it's a creation of Hollywood in Langley? You know, serial killers are the hottest thing in Hollywood. Both big and small screens are full of the exploits of these monsters amongst us. And you know, they always say you never know who could be one of them. Well, actually, you do know exactly who would be one of them, because they're every damn one of them attractive white males. Somebody said there's like maybe one black one and one woman one. We're not talking about the outliers, people. Don't try to do this the host's job. You know the little sticker, don't try this at home. You know, they see it on the TV. This was done in the closed set. Please don't try this at home. Please don't try this at home. You do know who a serial killer is likely to be. Looks like me. Looks like Brandon. Do a search yourself and see what you find. Alcala, Keyes, Manson, Bundy, Berkowitz, Holmes, Zodiac, Rader, Ramirez, Speck, Ridgway, Jack the Ripper, Dahmer, Shipman, Unterweger, Kemper, Long, Gacy, Rifkin, Curtin, Christie, Brady, Young, West, DeSalvo, Bianchi. White guys. Most of them pretty good looking. How about on the screen? Hannibal Lecter, Dexter, Patrick Bateman, American Psycho, Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs, Francis Dollarhide, Silence of the Lambs, Mickey Knox, Tate Langdon, Billy Looms, Arthur Mitchell, Brian Moser, also Silence of the Lambs, Dexter's brother, Stu Mocker, Joe Carroll from The Following, The Bone Collector, Earl Brooks, John Doe, the Kevin Spacey character from 7 Deadly Sins. Good looking white guys. And here's another big question. How the hell did Bundy and Tex Watson supposedly father children while on death row? That's impossible. And it's a good indication to a thinking mind that the whole thing's a charade. Literally, they're not in jail. I proved to you a few months ago, Charlie Manson wasn't in jail. Ted Bundy wasn't in jail. They show up for photo ops, then they go home. It's a show. Another red flag in Bundy's life. In 1966, Bundy went to the University of Washington to study Chinese. Chinese. Big red flag. Why? Because those who study foreign languages in college, especially Russian and Chinese, are overwhelmingly disproportionately recruited by intelligence. Why? Because they need people that speak Chinese and Russian. You got to learn to see the signs. All you bitches looking for signs in the Bible, why don't you look for the signs that are right in front of your face? Remember the comedian? Here's your sign. Dummy. Come on, man. Come on, man. We also know that Ted worked on Nelson Rockefeller's presidential campaign in 1968. Rockefeller was long involved in intelligence. He was a president of the NSC and chairman of the Planning Coordination Group, which oversaw the CIA under Eisenhower, the proven traitor. Come on, man. Bundy was a spy for the Republican governor Daniel Evans of Washington in 1972, posing as a college student to shadow Evans' opponent, which is admitted in Wikipedia. He was then hired as an assistant to the state Republican Party chairman, Ted Bundy. Bundy was accepted to law school on the recommendation of Governor Evans. He had the recommendation of the state governor. It's a big club and you ain't in it. Just this one slide is enough to make you say, what the fuck? In question if Bundy was already an insider and a spy from the beginning. The backstories of his birth and life as a child, amateurish pulp fiction. Who was or possibly who is Ted Bundy? I've already told you the elite like to use their own children in manufactured events because they're easy to control. In most cases, they don't even bother to change their names, a tribute to their accurate estimate of our collective intelligence, which is low. Lynette Squeaky Fromm, Sharon Tate, Abigail Foster, Susan Atkins, John Phillips, Jim Morrison. Outside of the Tate event, think of John Hinckley Jr., son of a close personal friend of the Bushes. And did you know, here's a fun fact, the day that John Hinckley Jr. shot Ronald Reagan, allegedly, guess who the Bushes had dinner with that night? The Hinkleys. Hinckley Sr. That's not weird at all, is it? That's not strange at all. Still think my premise is stupid? Still say it couldn't happen? But wait. There's more. George Bundy, National Security Advisor, CIA Supervisor to Kennedy and Johnson, JFK, LBJ. In 1953, he was a Dean of Arts and Sciences at Harvard. We know Art is cabal complicit. He was 34 when he got that job because he was already in the CIA. He'd been on the Council of Foreign Relations since he was 29. He'd been on the Council of Foreign Relations since he was 29. He'd been in intelligence since 1941, and he joined the OSS, which was the predecessor of CIA. And where was he out of? Yale. Remember the Skull and Bones on the Chi Alpha, the Chi, the Chi, the 18, Elvis's birthday. And also, McGeorge Bundy's older brother, William, was also a prominent CIA agent. After he got done being a spook, he became a historian, wrote a lot of books. You can't find his children. None are listed at Wikipedia, even though none are listed at Wikipedia. They hid McGeorge's children and his early photographs because he was Ted Bundy's father. That's right. I said it. Ted's bio is weak and intentionally dramatic in my view. Ted and his official biographers tell stories about finding a birth certificate or being shown one by a cousin. He's supposed to have discovered his grandparents weren't, his parents weren't, his sister was his mama, and he wasn't even from the South. Little self-deprecating humor. that was always beyond belief, and now we see a much more likely history for Ted. He might have been a bastard, but he was the bastard of William or McGeorge Bundy. My money's on McGeorge, not some USAF veteran. Let's look at some photographical comparisons. This is McGeorge's brother. What was his name? William. This is William Bundy. Remember the bow tie. This is William Bundy. This is Ted Bundy. William Bundy, Ted Bundy, William Bundy, Ted Bundy, William Bundy, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy. The first two are William Bundy, Ted's uncle, in my view. You can't find photos of McGeorge Bundy as a young man. I think it's because he was Ted's dad. And you can't compare Ted as a young man to McGeorge as a young man. But even by comparing the uncle, you get some great information. Miles Mathis, in addition to being a great investigative journalist, is also a professional portrait painter, hired by wealthy people to reproduce their likenesses or the likenesses of their children. And in his professional opinion, both as a portrait artist and as an investigative journalist, the match between William, the uncle, and Ted, the nephew, is quite close. In this professional's opinion, if not for the difference in the upper lip, they could be clones. Same eyebrows, jawline, exact same head shape, same size forehead, same eye to mouth ratio, neck size, similar ears, and very nearly the same noses. William tends to squint a little bit. Whoops, my bad. William tends to squint a little bit, probably because of the glasses. Ted opened his eyes really wide, and they probably told him, like they told Charlie, open your eyes real wide. It makes you look crazy. Ted and William even have the same hair color and parted on the same side. William, McGeorge, and Ted were also the same height, the same weight, and the same build. Here's a fact for you. Here's a receipt. All three men had blue eyes with brown hair. The odds that all three men would have the trait of blue eyes and brown hair and not be related is 1 in 100. But wait, there's more. That's McGeorge Bundy, who I say is Ted's dad. Now, you can't find pictures of him young, which is crazy. You can't find pictures of him young. But if you look at these two guys, that's Ted's daddy. I'm telling you, that's Ted's daddy. Let me give you some data. This is McGeorge at 45. His hairline receded earlier than his brothers and his sons. It makes him appear to have a larger forehead and throws off the similarity at first glance. That's why you can't find photos of McGeorge in his 20s or 30s, because he'd have the hair down way further and he'd look a lot more like Ted. But notice the mouth and lip. Very, very similar. Both George and Ted have that nearly perfect Cupid's bow on their upper lip. Whoops. Come on, man. Jeff, what are you doing, bro? Okay. Ted's mouth matches McGeorge's mouth exactly in length, width, and curvature. Here's some more facts for you. The mathematical odds of matching hair color, eyes, jawline, eye shape, size, build, face shape, nose length, mouth width, same last name are very low. If you're not related, 1 in 10 million. 1 in 10. The chances that these two are not related is 1 in 10 million, according to the forensic evidence. 1 in 10 million. Remember the bow tie? This is what you call fucking with you. And if you zoom in, it's the same bow tie. It's just blurred out here. They got Ted in the same fucking jacket and the same fucking bow tie as his fucking uncle. And I've seen Ted with glasses on in this picture too. I just couldn't find it. They are fucking with us. I know what we'll do. Let's fuck with these bitches. Let's put Ted in a bow tie, same coat as his uncle. Ha! Yeah, that's some funny shit, isn't it? That's some funny shit. Only it's not funny. Why do they expend relatively so little energy and time trying to make these scenarios airtight? They know that neatness doesn't count. They don't care because they know that most of you, not me, but most of you will be fooled by a sloppy magician's trick, and that's all they're interested in. They don't need to fool all of us. They just need to fool most of us, make the rest of us look crazy, and we're too timid to challenge the narrative. Have you ever seen this meme? I'm telling you guys, says the one sheep. The man and the dog, they're definitely working together. Oh, come on, Trevor. Always with that conspiracy stuff, folks. The man and the dog are working together. Ted Bundy was a faux banner to demonize white guys. Rich, white, attractive white guys. I'm white and reasonably attractive. I'm offended. Wow. But wait, there's a little bit more. So the question remains, why would intelligence be interested in faking a serial killer? Well, to create instability and fear. This has always been one of the goals of intelligence. Remember, Ted Bundy was only 5 years or so after Charlie Manson. Charlie discredited the hippies, and Ted served to be the first crippling blow against handsome, Agarthian white males. The FBI had COINTELPRO. CIA had Project Chaos. Both programs have been declassified enough now that we know that the aims of both of them were destabilization, both foreignly and domestically. They knew that if things are destabilized, it's easier to maintain control. Thus, JFK, Manson, Ted. They need to justify continued spending to expand the intelligence community, and the best way to do that is to manufacture conflict and fear. Starting to get a little tired. And the best way to do that, or a great way to do that, is create boogeymen. Manson, Bundy. Manson's boogeyman was very successful in destroying the hippie movement. Now, that works so good. Why don't we demonize the good-looking white guy? Why? Well, number one, and I'm going to get some people mad at me, but statistically, the charismatic, college-educated white guy, at least in that day for sure, was still the most dangerous person in the eyes of intelligence at that time. Because in 1975, he still had the most power. The good-looking white guys are the biggest threat to become high-profile speakers. The good-looking white guys are the highest threat to be brave, tenacious, and have great ability to sway a crowd. Therefore, intelligence wanted to recruit all the charismatic white guys they could into their agencies and hogtie the rest of us. Intelligence also wanted to create as much sexual dissatisfaction as they could. It helped sales in all areas. Dissatisfied by more drugs, liquor, guns, magazine, newspapers, watch more TV, and are easier to propagandize. And if intelligence could make women fear the good-looking white males, one of the great true hopes of humanity, they would immediately create huge levels of sexual dissatisfaction. And just if you were trying to destabilize both the black and the white race, what's a better way to do it than to make white guys look like idiots so white girls will marry black guys? They'd watch soap operas. They'd read pulp romances. They'd be propagandized. They'd have anxiety, mental, physical effects of anxiety, require a million forms of drugs, therapy, and become much more controllable. And as women went, so did men. If heterosexual women can be driven nuts, that's a great way to drive a heterosexual man nuts. The sexual relationship is like that. If you destroy one half of it, the other half falls as well. It's called affinity. If you bring, there's a triangle of communication. If you bring one side down, you bring all sides down. If you bring down communication and affinity, which means liking each other, you disrupt all human interaction. That's called white Dianetics. And this is still the program today. Oprah, hospitals, pharmaceutical industry, porn, Hollywood, cosmetics, radical feminism, women's studies, men's studies, postmodern art, and 1,000 worthless YouTube channels. And as magnificently stated by Miles Mathis, I want to go on record as saying, I take these ruinous sexual destabilization programs personally. I do. Because like the rest of the heterosexual male population, I've been forced my entire life to date women who've been brought up on a constant fare of planted stories of the Manson Bundy type. It ain't easy being the all-American boy. You think I'm being dramatic? My first wife and the mother of my children, who left me 20 years ago, it ain't a thing anymore, guys. Best thing that ever happened to me. She was actually approached by Ted Bundy at Lake Sammamish State Park. Incidentally, her maiden name, Sams, is a derivation of a peerage name. And after leaving me, she would go on to marry into the Windsor name. True story. How good is their remote viewing? Was she sent to throw me off my path? I don't know. That's just interesting. They've been manufacturing tragedies year by year for decades, and now we're up to several a month just to keep the patients properly traumatized. It used to be we'd have one fake serial killer every couple years. That'd do the job. But, like everything else, we develop a tolerance. After 9/11, the audience becomes more difficult to startle. You got to have your daily dose of shootings, maulings, rapes, suicides, crashes, and molestations. Now you got to have at least one mass shooting or bombing every 2 or 3 months. And the serial killer storyline takes too long to unwind for these microwave minds. So they've moved away from it to a large degree. We don't get a lot of serial killers anymore. The American public simply doesn't have the attention span anymore. Isn't it convenient that crazy murderers decided to quit the serial killing thing and go in for the mass murder thing instead? So nice of them to change with the times. But you got to trot out the good-looking white guy serial killer in the media on a regular basis. The Lecters, the Buffalo Bills, the Joe Carrolls, and then you got to trot out the real ones every now and then and keep trotting them out. Dahmer, Kaczynski, Berkowitz, Ramirez, Lanza, Holmes, Breivik, all of them white guys, but the best and the most charismatic, the Lecter formula, they get trotted out the most. Ted Bundy and Charles Manson. Do you know that combined they made over 50 movies and TV shows about Ted Bundy and Charles Manson? And they keep a coming. I mean, Jared Leto as Bundy got us ready for the Black Lives Matter narrative. Why are they doing it? I've been telling you why they're doing it. What if serial killers are manufactured? Miles Mathis closes his papers on Bundy with a fascinating insight. He recommends, for an interesting cloaked expose of this phenomenon, M. Night Shyamalan's film, The Village. In that film, which I watched, Shyamalan tells you that the boogeymen are fake, and spoiler alert, good-looking white guys did it. Ted Bundy as a cultural faux banner, based on the excellent reports of the amazing Miles Mathis, was Bundy. An attack on the Agarthian white male, Ted Bundy, and the demonization of the white male. Ted Bundy, cultural faux banner, ladies and gentlemen. Cultural faux banner. Ted Bundy. Welp, it's time to take your calls. But first, it's time to take a break. And I'm going to do something really mean. Really mean. I'm going to show you something that won't be available till tomorrow. And it's kind of stupid because some of you are going to want it and you can't get it. So it's kind of a bad idea for me to show it, but I want to show it. So it's my damn show. So guess what? I'm going to show it. Plus it's 2 minutes and 10 seconds long. And I need a little break. So watch this. It's amazing. I'll show you, Kelly. Watch this. And it'll be available tomorrow on jeffreydaugherty.com. And I'll be right back to take your calls after this message.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. Waive's phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself. Let's take a look at why this is important on a cellular level. For example, a number of our patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are neutralized naturally. Waive phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative powers and provide specific health benefits, all without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals, all helping you to stay healthy and young. To find out more, contact your distributor or visit lifewave.com. LifeWave. Live long, live well.
That'll be coming on jeffreydaugherty.com tomorrow. Cynthia and I have been using them for about 6 weeks, and wow, that's all I got to say. Wow. Please don't buy them until tomorrow, and they're pretty cheap, bro. Okay. I should say they're inexpensive because cheap tends to have the connotation of shoddy. All right, you know the rules. Be interesting, be polite, get to the point, come strong, don't suck. And ladies and gentlemen, let me get the microphone in position. And I turned it down because I know somebody told me we're having some double feedback. So let me turn the microphone back up. And now we're ready for your calls. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeff. John in Tulsa.
John, what's up, my friend?
Well, this story about Ted Bundy has brought something, reminded me something my first wife told me. I married a little gal from Concord, California, that she claimed that she was over in San Francisco when she was 15 years old, and they got in a car, a Volkswagen. And when they got in there, they were hitchhiking, and they were in San Francisco downtown, and They got in there, and she said that this guy looked like Ted Bundy, and the window, the door handle was off, and she reached through the window and grabbed the outside door and opened it, and they jumped out. And she swore she thought it was Ted Bundy. It could have been hysteria at that time, and everybody, was talking about it and all that. I don't know, but it just seemed interesting to me that happened to her, and you're telling this story not about everything. And I agree with most of the facts you're talking about there sound like it was put up.
Yeah.
But there's another story, and I don't know if you looked at this one, but Robert Blake and another guy played in a movie in the 50s where they broke into a family's home and murdered this family and everything, and they ended up going to death row. But I don't know if you remember that movie, but I can't remember the name of it. But
I don't remember it.
Robert Blake was in. You might check it out. It's kind of an interesting movie.
I will. I will.
It may have been a fear movie too. Anyway, I'll let you go, and I'm enjoying the show. It's a great show.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. My first wife, the mother of my 3 children, she was at Lake Sammamish Park where Bundy took several girls, and she said a guy with a cast in a sling came up to her and said, "Hey, can you help me get my kayak on top of my car?" She walked over there with him. The kayak was on it was a VW Bug, and something spooked her and she ran. I've jokingly said Bundy could have saved me a lot of money, but that's not very funny. But I remember I wrote a screenplay about a serial killer, and she thought she would embarrass me one night. We picked the kids up, dropped the kids off. I'm there with a girl, and she says, "So I hear you're writing a screenplay about a serial killer." And I said, "Yes, I am." She goes, "Oh, must be experience." I said, "No, the proof of that is you're still here." But boom. Don't get in an argument with me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get in a pissing contest with me. You'll wind up all wet and you'll lose. Just ask. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Let's try this one more time. Are you there? I don't think they're there. I have to wait for something to happen over here, folks. I'm sorry. I have to wait for a second. Come on. Here we go. You're live. Not anymore. I tried. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Chuck. How's it going?
Hey, Chuck. What's up, my friend?
Oh, man. I'm going to kick myself in the butt. Actually, I'm not, because it's worth every minute of sleep I'm going to lose tonight. But I got 2 16s. I got to be there at 7. Fortunately, it's right next door.
Yeah, man. Get yourself over there.
Man, this is podcast excellent at its finest. And I have a little Ted Bundy story to tell you. As you know, or if you remember, my dad was born in 1922. So he was around for a long time, until 95 when he passed away when I was 9. But he actually was on the jury. And he got permission. He was in the military as well. But he got permission to go and see him, which automatically excluded him from the jury.
Go see who?
Make contact. Ted Bundy.
Oh, shit.
When
really?
He was in Florida. Yeah. He was living there, and he just made the decision to go and talk to him. And he said it was, and my dad's IQ was 175.
Did Bundy meet with him?
He was the smartest. Yeah, they sat and talked.
Wow.
He said that he was the single smartest man that he'd ever met, and his IQ was 170. My father's.
Wow.
So that in itself should tell you, not you, but
right.
Metaphorically speaking, that. And I did some research on this. I mentioned it in the chat. Right at the same time that I found your channel, I also found this other channel, and it had all these serial killers, the serial killers that you listed, plus many, many more, and the uncanny ties that all lead back to the same source. And it's just like WTC and Columbine, all that. It's done so that they can feed off of the negativity, the shock and awe, the horror, because people are easily manipulated. And now that we have the internet, it's not so hard to con us.
Right.
People are starting to wake up, but they need to play catch up quick.
Absolutely.
People have no idea how deep this is. This isn't a rabbit hole. This is a dragon hole.
Ooh.
It's a stranglehold.
I like it. I think dragons kind of do live in holes and caves and stuff too, right? Great call, man. Great call. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, what's up, Jeffrey?
Hey,
You got me thinking, right? Going down memory lane.
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, so going down memory lane has white man bad. Dude, if you go through like the 70s TV shows, like, Mannix, Cannon, Hawaii Five-0.
Rockford Files.
Did you ever see a bad black person?
I can't remember, did we?
No. I was trying to, I watched them all. I watched reruns, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we were left to deal with for years before YouTube. But anyway, yeah, it's always been for like decades that it's always the white guy's the bad guy.
Yep. It's been a plan for a while.
A long time. You know what? I take it as a compliment.
You know
that means,
yeah, they know that we're fixing to kick their ass. It's just a matter of time. Great point. Great point. I appreciate you underlining what we've been talking about. And Don says now it is true for sure. It's always been true, but now it is especially true, folks. They're trying to take us out. Cynthia says there weren't many black people in shows. Yeah, that's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good point. Estelle talks about sitcoms with dumb dads. Yep. The phone number is 913-279-0831, 913-279-0831. S. Geiga tells us that her ex-husband was diagnosed as a sociopath and pathological. They instructed me to flee and carry pepper spray. Wow. Yeah, it does happen. And then there's Al Bundy, who was a dummy. That's interesting. Dirty Harry shot black guys, white guys, all guys. Go ahead. Make my day. Excellent shit, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back and see what you guys were saying back on in the day. I can't go back all the way, but let's see. I always like the nice looking white guys, regardless of what they pumped out in the media. Well, that's good, Jesse. I'm glad about that. Let's see. I do my research, somebody says, and I connect the dots. Yep. Wow, this is amazing stuff, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are really, really good. You're really, really smart, and you really got it going on. I appreciate it. The new product does look great. It is a great product. They've got one. If you notice, I've been nicer and been, not snapping. I wear it. It's called Nirvana, and it just kind of chills you out, and it's less expensive than some of the other stuff that I was using. So it's really, really, really nice. Thank you for coming and trolling. I really appreciate it, because it does drive me up in the algorithms, and people that aren't as stupid as you get to see the show because your dumbass is here. So thanks so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Ooh, Kelly says all the good-looking white guys now are gay. Wow. Oh, I just got a death threat, ladies and gentlemen. I just got a death threat. If you're on Facebook, report this guy right here, this person, as sending a death threat to your host. If you're on Facebook, go to this channel, go to watch this video. It's on the Late Night in the Heartland channel, and report this person for making a threat on my life. You done fucked up now, dumbass. Please go do that. Ratzinger ATG on Facebook just made a death threat. Just made a death threat. Expect a little knock on your door, bitch. Some people are just so stupid, They really are just so stupid. The phone lines are open. Maybe we'll have an early night on Late Night in the Heartland. I don't know. And that wouldn't be so bad because, again, I was up all night long. I don't know if I'll be able to go to sleep or not. I did share it, Joel, and it'll come up. There's a delay. There's a delay. But, folks, I do appreciate every single one of you. Here's another call. I think it's Brandon. Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Oh, man, what a great presentation.
Thanks. It was interesting, huh? Hey,
Yeah,
what did you want to say on the Magenta show?
Say again?
What did you want to say when you were going to call in on the Magenta show?
Oh, okay. It is easier to forget things both literally and figuratively than it is to remember them.
Ooh, it is, isn't it?
How that correlates to paradigm shifting and manifesting positive reality.
Ooh.
It is painful, often at times, to remember psychological and physical trauma. Ultimately, we get to decide not only how we define ourselves, but what it really means to be divine, sovereign, and free. We should also be so free that we don't let anything or anyone get in the way of our being. And we've been lied to so much that we now know what real truth is. The Who said it best: we don't get fooled again.
Don't get fooled again. Yep. Was that The Who?
That was, yeah.
Was it?
The Who.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Amazing stuff, man. Amazing stuff.
That's just everything I've been ruminating on the past couple of days, and you've been doing a great job, and I really appreciate you standing up for people, because Cynthia's right. Now is not the time to be picking chicken fights and having pissing matches with people in truth.
It's really not. It's really not. It is not the time to do it. And I did somebody said I should screenshot that. I did. That was a really good suggestion. So we got that documented now, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm going to nail that bitch to the wall if I can. That's something that you just can't go around making death threats to people. That's ridiculous.
Of course not.
That's ridiculous. Anything else on your mind?
I was going to suggest maybe diving into David Lynch's work.
Yeah, I know you've suggested that before. I thought about it.
Twin Peaks is a very interesting thing to analyze, and I think it's got connections with allegory to Freemasonry with the Black and the White Lodges.
Oh, yeah.
The spirit story, and then also how that might correlate to Black versus White Dianetics.
Ooh, good point. Really good point. I'll do it, man. I'll check it out. Thanks so much for calling. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Let's see. What else we got going on here? It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hello.
Hi.
You know, your show tonight brought up a memory of my life from back in like 1990, 1991, 91. Up with the Green River Killer up in Washington. And they almost released him a couple months back when they were releasing everybody out of prison.
And, I got a funny Green River Killer story, too. That same girl that we weren't married yet that had been approached by Bundy. I was driving a car that the gas gauge was broken, and sometimes I ran out of gas. And we ran out of gas. I promise you, we ran out of gas, and we pulled off to this, wide spot in the road, and we were 10 feet from the bridge over the Green River when the Green River Killer was out there.
Oh my God! So we were in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I was stationed at McCord Air Force Base in Tacoma, Washington, and she lived in North Bend, so I had to drive up there to to see her. So that's how we ended up there.
I was with a seaman from Fairchild.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. Crazy stuff, huh?
All right.
Crazy stuff.
Very crazy.
Take care. Thanks for the call, and I'm glad that you escaped the Green River Killer. I appreciate it. Somebody says their husband's related to Ted Bundy. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting stuff. Jameis says this is podcast excellence. Thank you so much, James. I really do appreciate it. Travis says, why can't we smoke a bong? I get it, bro. I don't really do that kind of thing, but if you want to do one, I can sit there and have some distilled water with you. I appreciate it. I'm just not into the herb. I have used it for pain relief in the past. It's excellent for that, so I'm not a hater. I'm just not a big advocate of recreational herb usage. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey, it's David, Kit Dagger calling. How you doing?
Hey. And I send me again a time when your dad's going to be around that phone, and I'll send the healing frequencies to him. I just did the scan. I didn't send the healing frequencies.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering, I was going through that with my dad today, and just to tell everybody, like, that is insane. Like, when I thought, like, you'd scan somebody, you'd just get, like, a little, like, blur, but it was, like, pages and pages of information, and you need, like, a dictionary to figure out what's what, and it was just unbelievable. I really appreciate that.
Now, be honest. As you looked it up, did it seem to be accurate or not so much?
Yeah, well, he's got a low sperm count, so I'm not going to get my baby sister like I was hoping. But it pretty much does. Like obviously with his stomach problems and other stuff. Yeah, it's like from the stuff that I recognize, like some of the words I'm not really sure what they mean. And like it was like basically just red and green. So I'm guessing that red is the bad and then the green is the good.
Red is out of balance. Green is in balance.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. So like I said, I screenshot everything just so I could go through everything, and then I went over it with them. So yeah.
And there's a website that you can go to that tells you all of what everything means. And it's on that front page. It's on that front page. It tells you where to go.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I ordered some nanosoma for myself, my mom, and my dad today too. So hopefully that helps as well.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. I'm continually amazed by how good it is.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I also got my first coin from Mint Builder the other day as well.
What'd you get?
Got the Panda 2020 China S10Y.
Yes, I think I got that one. And that thing, when I got it, was worth about $100 more than when I ordered it, which was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, you can look up on, if you go on, and we'll get off this, folks. Sorry. If you go on like eBay, you can type in that coin that comes on the little, this little tag up here. If you type in that coin, it'll tell you, you'll be able to see on eBay how much it's worth. And they're all going to be worth like $100, $150 more than you paid. So yeah, it's good shit, man.
One question for the rods quick. I know you were talking about the bushes and, on that. I've seen a few things where they've compared Barbara Bush to Aleister Crowley. I just want to ask the rods if Barbara Bush is Aleister Crowley's daughter.
The rods say pretty much.
Yeah. That's what I figured. They look identical, so I was just curious. Just wanted to make sure.
And, it's all in the family. Get Dagger. All the best to your dad. Thanks so much for calling. I always look forward to your calls. Appreciate it. We're talking about Mint Builder, Brandon. And Mint Builder, I don't get involved in the mailing. It goes out. I think it goes out UPS. But they just send it to you wherever you are. Don, you're right. And that's why, people say, well, Jeff, why don't you tell us where you are? Because some of these bitches are crazy. I don't want to tell you where I am. They're crazy as shit, these people. So we don't do that. We don't talk about where we live. We live in Kansas. That's as close as we're going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. That's as close as we're going to tell you. Folks, before I leave, I just want to, I'm all about helping you optimize yourself. Well, let's take this call. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey.
Just a quick note.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, let's say the goal is to wake people up, right?
Yep.
To get them to go do something. It's sad, but apparently their children being attacked isn't enough.
Ooh.
So I think we need to wake them up to the fact that old Bill Gates, your pets, your dog, your cat, their little paw print, the little carbon paw print, it's going to be a little too big. Right? So if people realize that maybe these people aren't going to allow you to have a pet eventually, maybe people would wake the fuck up.
They already did it in North Korea. They made people kill all of their pets.
It's coming. I've been saying it for years.
Yep,
right?
it's
people that will.
It's called communism.
People that are okay with aborting babies might wake up if they're coming after their dogs. I don't know.
Which is really, really sad, but true. Late Night in the Heartland, you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Oh, my God, Jeff. I didn't expect you to answer so quickly. This idiot Arbery, I think the only recognition he deserved was to be the Darwin Awards.
Yeah.
Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. I was just wondering if it's okay to ask you your take on Jordan Peterson and his take on controlled rage and importance of a man to know he's a man and be able to tap into being dangerous in a controlled manner. I don't just your take on that and his take on being masculine and the whole hierarchy and all that stuff. And I'm out with that question.
All right. I agree with that. I'm a very good advocate of that. Generally, I do not agree with Jordan Peterson and would not recommend Jordan Peterson. In fact, I would recommend against him. I don't know where my wife comes down on that, but Brandon has a name for him, and I agree with it. I think Jordan Peterson is complicit. I do not go for Jordan Peterson, but what you said, I do go for. So I guess, eat the meat, throw out the bones, right? Late Night in the Heartland is live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. It's Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Yeah, you got me thinking about...
That's what I'm here for. Thank you.
Yeah. Dennis Rabbit. I used to live in St. Louis. He was the serial rapist, murderer, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he owned a bar in St. Louis City. And I guess his area was St. Louis City, St. Louis County in Illinois. And it went on 10 years of terror, they said. And I didn't really live there, but I came back for a little while. And I was sitting in a bar that his family owned. And evidently he ran and
wow,
likable guy, everybody said. We were all sitting around talking. I said, well, tell me more about this guy. Because I heard of him, but I, never thought much of him. I heard the stories. And I said, well, he was a really nice guy. They had great comments about him. He got along with everybody. He helped people. He could date anybody he wanted. They said he was set up. They all were convinced he was set up.
Ooh, really?
I go, yeah. I go, well, okay, you all say you like him. He was your friend. Why didn't you go visit him in prison?
Ooh.
And get his side of the story? Because I said, do you really think he did it? And they all said no.
It's so funny that you say that because someone just put this in the chat that, every time they talk to the serial killer's neighbors, like, he was a great guy. He was really nice. He would help me with my leaves and he carried my groceries and we never would have, we're so shocked. They might all, I will go so far as to say they might all be faux banners and setting up good guys. And there's bodies. Well, listen, there is no shortage of bodies that these people have of women and children if they want to plant one on somebody. I hate to say it, but we all know it's true.
Well, exactly. And this guy his family and him, they lost everything. Evidently, he had a lot of artifacts, all this stuff. He pissed somebody off.
Yep. And if you piss the wrong person off, boom. Yep.
But what I was surprised at, all those people were his buddies. And I said, why didn't you go visit him? I'd like to hear from him.
Yep. I had an appointment. I had an appointment when I was living in Vegas to go interview Charles Manson, but he canceled it at the last second, so I didn't get to go. I thought I was going to get to go talk with him.
You probably just get BS from him. He liked to talk.
He did, but I like to talk too. So,
well, But I just found that challenging that they all really thought he was innocent, and that, why didn't they reach out to him and go visit him? They were friends.
Yep. Great point. And we need to, we still need to, the innocent till proven guilty. We've got to keep that in our minds no matter what they want us to do and no matter how they want us to be. We've got to be better, 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 and better, ladies and gentlemen. We are the last generation of real humans. And I'll answer this. I get asked this from time to time. I don't know why people, they must not listen that much. But when I say we're the last generation of real humans, think about it. We are getting all of these chemtrails and have been getting them for years. We're getting all of this stuff in our food and have been getting it for years. We're getting all of this EMF radiation, have been getting it for years. We're getting energetic bombardments that we don't even know that we're getting. We're eating stuff we shouldn't be eating. They've been putting the transhumanism stuff out, the hormone stuff out. We literally are the last generation of real humans. So we've got to get busy. Thank you, Anthony. It's my pleasure. And I'm going to take this call too. It's Late Night in the Heartland. Whoops, I missed it. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, this is Steven.
Hey, Steven, how are you?
Doing okay.
What's on your mind, my friend?
I got a rod question.
A rod question? Okay, what is it?
Are over 50% of the missing children directly because of government?
Because of what?
Because of government.
Oh, it says yes, a hard yes.
Ooh.
Thank you. You always ask really pointed questions, and they always are a great addition to the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Good night, sweetheart. I wanted to ask for healing for my son and myself. We will definitely send that out to you. S. Geiga. I always say her first name, but she probably, if wanted her first name said, she would say it. She says she's understanding last generation of real humans. Miss Kathy, nice to hear you again. I got the pleasure of meeting Miss Kathy over at in St. Louis at the Sam Tripoli show. It was great. It was great. I agree with you, Anthony. No processed foods. Don't go in the center of the grocery store. Just go around the edge. Eat the vegetables. Eat the meat. That's all you need. Yes, Stacy Guy. I know your name, girl. I just didn't know if you want me to say it. Come on now. Come on now. He asked if over 50% of the missing children were due to the government. And the Rod said, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yep. And the Rods did say that Barbara Bush is Aleister Crowley's daughter. It did. We'll see you, Shane. Thanks for being here. Wow. The only thing in my day I enjoy due to chronic ongoing pain. You know what, Dawn? Touch my heart. Thank you so very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night, and we are going to have a good weekend. We're going to continue to do some shows. You will see me. Sam Tripoli's a great comic. I was privileged to go over and be with him and Eddie Bravo at Great Comedy Club in St. Louis, and we were privileged to meet Miss Kathy, and it was so much fun. And we got another call. Should we take it? Yeah, why not? It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey. It's Cruz here.
Hi.
I just wanted to call and say, man, I didn't think you were going to answer this quick, man. I didn't even pause the TV. But Sarah, I don't think Barnes was her last name. Have you heard of her? She was down in Florida, I think, last year. She was 33, but she burnt down one of the oldest trees in the world in a park inside of it.
Why?
Like, meth.
She was smoking meth?
33, and it was like a 3,500-year-old tree.
Oh,
jeez. I think it was like in Lakewood or Landland, Florida, somewhere down there. But I just thought that was kind of interesting because I live down in Florida, and yeah, you don't get fires anywhere. And I was like, are you serious? She was in there smoking meth with it. Well, but she obviously wasn't thinking.
That's,
like, that's
terrible.
crazy.
That's terrible.
People have got no respect for nature or nothing. I'm like, it's a sad world. But great 2 shows today, and love what you do. And thank you for all your time and hard work. You're great.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you for that. That's very, very touching. And I think before we leave, I want to, I'm going to let you go. Sorry. I want to read the email or the comment that Magenta Pixie put on the channel, and it literally made me cry before I went on. She's such a sweet, sweet person, and it was so nice of her to say this. And let me find it. Where is it? Where is it? We've had a lot of people putting on. Come on, where's Magenta's? Where's Magenta's? Here she is. And if you watch the video, you know what we are referring to. Magenta says, actually, this is completely untrue. He used my video. Oh, no. She's responding to something else. Let me find out where she talked. I wanted to read it because it was so sweet, but evidently there's been a lot of chat going back and forth. I've got to actually find the original one from Magenta. I'll find it. Don't worry. Yeah, Magenta was addressing something that wasn't true. Wow, there's been a lot of chat activity here just during this show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Where is it? Come on, it's got to be here. It's got to be. Man, there's so much chat. Wow, things are blowing up, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it very much. Okay, things are blowing up. Well, here it is. Anyway, I can't find it right now. But she sent me a very nice note, and as soon as I get off the show, it'll pop right up. But it was very, very nice. And we appreciate you, Magenta, and I appreciate you saying what you did. And you know what? Let me, if I went right to the show, that might make it easier for me to see. I really want to read it because it deserves to be read. It was very, very nice. And let me see if I can't find it real quick. Let's see if we can find it real quick. This is terrible radio right here. Here it is. Thank you, Jeff, for making this video. And it's a little self-serving, but it's so sweet. I wanted to read it. Thank you, Jeff, for making this video. You really are a warrior of light in the highest degree. I felt energetically attacked by this man, and despite putting up my own spiritual defenses, nothing has assisted me as much as you doing this video. I feel as though you have stood in front of me, holding an energetic shield. Male energy should not attack or defile the feminine, and you have recognized that and completely diffused the attack against me. We did not know you were going to make this video. You are so right in all you say. I've shared this with my groups. I hope more people sub to you because you work so hard for the light and you are a true patriot. Speak soon, dear Jeff. Love, Magenta. And she gives me a little X. Is that a hug or a keys? I think that's a keys, isn't it? Is the hug the O or is the keys the O? I don't know. Magenta, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And since everybody loved the Michael Jackson, oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Magenta, that's so beautiful. Thank you, Magenta. So Michael liked it too, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will do, oh, I'll take it. Is this a Kill Will again? Late Night in the Heartland, you're live.
Yeah, Jeff, another dumb question from me. Why don't you use your remote talent, your remote viewing talent, and like go through the screen, go through your computer screen, and whoever needs like some type of healing, you know, just shoot them a real quick healing first because you did that last night. You actually shot a like a lightning bolt through the computer. I saw it. I noticed it. So I was just wondering why would you do that?
I've got to do it. I mean, that's a. Oh, Mr. Ackerwill, that's so beautiful, Mr. Ackerwill. It's so beautiful.
No. Actually, you did it last night.
I know. So, thank you so much, and I will do it. I will do it.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna write that down. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're gonna try to leave now. We're gonna do our very best to leave now. I will do some broadcasting this weekend, even though I probably should take a day off. I had 3 hours of sleep and I feel great, man. It's because we are with you guys and we appreciate you so much. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. Ain't no doubt this is the best. You're the best of all the rest, and the best is yet to come, ladies and gentlemen. I know it. I feel it. I believe it. And wow. What a night, what a week. We're breaking paradigms and getting us to the place where we can contemplate and imagine what we couldn't imagine before. You're the best. It's late night in the Heartland. Thanks for making my day. Thanks for making my week. You're the last generation of real humans. Unindoctrinate yourself and get busy. And I got a little request. I'll do it before we go in. It's tough right now. Yay, we are walking through, language alert, we are walking through the valley of the shadow of death, but we will fear no evil because we are the baddest motherfuckers in the valley. See ya Monday.